The announcement came the way most things did in my daughter's house, casually, between distractions. Someone had left crayons on the kitchen table. Two of the boys were arguing about a tablet charger. A pot of macaroni simmered on the stove, because it was the only thing I could cook in large enough portions to keep everyone quiet for 20 minutes. My daughter leaned against the counter, scrolling through her phone. "Oh," she said, almost as an afterthought, "I'm pregnant again. I thought I had misheard her." The kitchen window was open, and the street outside carried the hum of traffic. For a moment the words didn't quite land. "Again?" I asked. She nodded without looking up. "Sixth." The number hung in the room like something heavy that had nowhere to go. One of the boys tugged on my sleeve asking where his shoes were. A toddler began banging a spoon against the table. The macaroni water bubbled over and hissed against the burner. For years I had moved through this house like a second gravity system. School lunches before sunrise, doctor appointments, laundry that never quite ended. My daughter worked part-time when she felt like it. The fathers came and went in quiet rotations of brief involvement. But the children stayed, and so did I. At first it had made sense. When the first baby came, she was overwhelmed. When the second arrived so soon after, she needed help. By the fourth, people stopped asking questions. The routine simply became permanent. That afternoon, standing in the kitchen with a wooden spoon in my hand, something unfamiliar moved through me. Not anger, something quieter, fatigue that had finally turned into clarity. "Congratulations," I said. My daughter smiled slightly, still looking at her phone. I turned the stove off, drained the pasta, and filled 5 plastic bowls. The kids sat around the table eating noisily. No one noticed that I was watching them a little differently. They were good children. None of this was their fault. After dinner I washed the dishes slowly. The house settled into its usual evening rhythm, cartoons in the living room, a bath running upstairs, my daughter laughing at something on her phone. I dried my hands and walked to the small hallway closet. My old backpack was still there from a trip I had taken years earlier. I packed a few things. 2 shirts, a pair of socks, my medication. When I stepped back into the kitchen, my daughter glanced up. "Where are you going?" she asked. "Out for a while," I said. She shrugged. "Don't be late, I've got an appointment tomorrow." I nodded once. Then I walked out the door. The park 3 blocks away had a long wooden bench near a pond. I sat there for a while watching ducks move slowly across the water. My phone buzzed a few times. At first I ignored it. Eventually curiosity won. 5 missed calls. Then another. Then messages. "Where are you? Did you seriously leave?" An hour passed. The sky darkened. My phone began vibrating again, this time continuously. "Unknown number," I answered. "Hello? Sir?" A calm voice said, "This is Officer Ramirez with the City Police Department. We received a call regarding a situation involving childcare." I leaned back against the bench. "I see. Your daughter reported that you abandoned several children you were responsible for supervising." For a moment I didn't respond. The ducks moved quietly across the pond. "I understand," I said finally. "Can you tell me where you are right now?" I gave him the park location. "We'll come speak with you," he said. 2 patrol cars arrived about 15 minutes later. The officers approached calmly. One older, one younger. They asked a few questions. How many children lived in the house? What was my relationship to them? Did I have legal guardianship? The answers were simple. "No," I said. "They're not my children." The younger officer looked slightly confused. "But you've been caring for them."
Yes!
"For how long?" "About 8 years." The 2 officers exchanged a quiet glance. Officer Ramirez nodded slowly. "And tonight you left?"
Yes.
"Were the children alone?" "No. Their mother was home." He took a small breath and wrote something in his notebook. The legal lines were clearer than the emotional ones. "You're not their legal guardian," he said. "You're not under any obligation to remain." I nodded. He stepped aside and made a phone call. His voice stayed calm but firm. When he returned, his expression had shifted slightly. "I explained the situation," he said. "I didn't ask what my daughter had said in response. Some conversations don't need repeating. Sir," he added gently, "sometimes families create expectations that aren't actually legal responsibilities." I looked out at the pond again. "Yes," I said, "I think that's what happened." The officers left after a few minutes. The park grew quiet. For the first time in years, no one was calling my name from another room. No one needed a ride somewhere. No one had forgotten homework or lost a shoe. The silence felt unfamiliar, but it wasn't empty. The next morning I woke in a small motel room near the highway. My phone had several messages. Most were angry. One stood out. It was from my daughter. Just one sentence. "I didn't realize how much you were actually doing." I read it twice. Not an apology, but something closer to awareness. I placed the phone on the bedside table. Outside the window, the morning sun stretched across the parking lot. For years I had believed love meant staying no matter how tired I became. Now I understood something different. Love could exist without disappearing inside it. And for the first time in a very long while, the day ahead belonged partly to me.